And you will also be invisible with an idea, a product, or a service that people who desperately need it will never see. That's on you. If you're a woman, no doubt the "I'm my mother" has crossed your consciousness in response to something you did or said. A flashing orange electronic sign like the New York DOT have on the Interstate 81. Lake effect, snow warning. Duh! What is it about sounding like our parents that is so worrisome to elicit a fear response? You're listening to Your Money, Your Business, the podcast with me, Debbie Colburn. I'm a small business expert and a former professional accountant turned money mindset guide. And I am obsessed with helping you achieve all those things you've dreamed of and thought were out of your reach, with helping you figure this money stuff out. My goal on this podcast is to help you break the cycle of feast or famine with your cash flow and to help you grow your wealth and sustain it over the long term. We dive deep, we get real, and we get raw, discovering and exploring what is really possible for you and letting go of all those things that are holding you back. If you've ever thought it's not enough looking at your bank balance or think I'll never get that paid off when you open up the credit card statement, maybe you're sick and tired of constantly being worried of just getting by, and you know you're missing out on key opportunities again and again, or maybe you're done with the constant arguments over money, then this is absolutely the right place. We'll bring you a whole new way to look at money, profit, cash, wealth, tackle the challenges, share the ideas, the tips and the tactics and the strategies, and get you connected to the right resources. Think of this as your weekly prescription of money mastery development and leave the hard work up to me. No matter what's going on in your life right now, I've got your back. Ready? Buckle up, take a deep breath, and join me in a conversation about breakthrough to the next level. Welcome to episode 117, and today I want to talk about those times when phrases like these are occupying our brains. I'm scared to death that someone will say something bad about me or my stuff. Oh my God, I sound like my mother or my father. I'm not finished yet, so... 3 seemingly innocuous sentences looking unrelated, yet they are blood brothers. Fear hides well, the ultimate chameleon in our universe, blending, unnoticed. I recently binge-watched 10 seasons of Homestead Rescue on Discovery. Yes, you can be successful and binge-watch TV, despite what you hear the online gurus say. I've always had a passion for building off the grid, and this caught my interest. Not the homesteading part so much, but the creativity and ingenuity. And yes, as I'm always saying, I know it's highly edited, out of sequence reality show. And one of the things that literally jumped off the screen in most of the first half of the seasons was the level of uncomfortableness in the men expressing their emotions. And in sharing them, I'm sure it took hours, even days, for them to catch those fleeting moments of tears. Or maybe, like I've heard bachelor gossip saying about filming, that they filmed until the person cried. I don't know. But what I do know for sure is that there are days, sometimes weeks, in all of our lives, whether you're a man or a woman or trans or LGBTQ, no matter what age you are, especially if you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, when what is coming at you in repeated barrages with no reprieve makes you just want to throw your hands up in the air and cry, and cry, and cry, and cry, no matter whether you are a man or a woman. It's a guaranteed rite of passage of entrepreneurship and of parenting. No doubt there are some of you right now in late spring already starting to freak out about tax season, what you owe, how you pay it. If that's you, guys, you need to get into one of our programs and we'll help you with that. It'll never be a problem again. Or maybe you're nearing your break point, having not brought on that desperately needed assistant or virtual assistant or right-hand person to take some of the $10 tasks. And that's not a literal $10, but the tasks that you don't need to be doing or your higher up people don't need to be doing. Take them off your plate or just delegate just a few more things to the person that you have available that really, really shines when they're given a particular type of project. The former engineer that has that hidden talent for graphics. Or the lady who, after serving time for a white-collar crime, really it should have been called a pink-collar crime, is devoting her time to starting a new virtual assistant agency for Latino women. You heard me talk about how we use the 90-day plan in our business, setting one financial outcome for each of the 90 days, and one non-financial outcome, planning and mapping it out and then executing it. And in every one of those 90-day blocks, there are almost always a number of days where I just want to go and scream and cry. What the hell was I thinking? No way this is going to work. I get stuck on the how train, the how questions swirling on a loop in my head, and we spend hours on something, and just when we think it's finished and go and test it, there's a dumb mistake. Something got missed. That is the way back, and we have to go back and fix it. That happens to all of us, no matter how well it's planned. Maybe it's the planning. We should actually add a sticker to it that's an image of a wrench. Put a wrench in the monkey wrench in the group, or a spanner. And what happens when that fear pops up even before you started? Did you know that perfectionism is fear in disguise? Just think about what goes through your head when you consider releasing something that's done, but not perfect. A B- or a B+ type work, not perfect. It's not a problem that I have. I'm a C student. I'm good with B+. Those are all fears disguised, knocking you on the shoulder, quietly persuading you or trying to persuade you that those thoughts that they're giving you, the ones that they're triggering for you, are valid. That listening to them will keep you safe, secure. Sure they will. You'll never have trolls on social media telling you how terrible a person you are. And you will also be invisible with an idea, a product or service that people who desperately need it will never see. And that's on you. If you're a woman, no doubt the "I'm my mother" has crossed your consciousness in response to something you did or said, a flashing orange electronic sign like the New York DOT have out on Interstate 81 at Watertown and Syracuse in winter that says, "Lake effect snow warning." That big. What is it about sounding like our parents that is so worrisome to elicit a fear response? Is it the correlation between this and what they said and what they did and the result you assume it created for them? I honestly can't say, because it is something that I am curious about right now in my own life. What is it about my mom that I am being so triggered by? And I do want to share that, as many of you know, my mom is almost 89, just a couple of months, and she is very clearly losing her short-term memory and her hearing. And she's as stubborn as shit. I find myself not being as understanding and compassionate of her aging symptoms as I would like to be. I find myself internally wishing that I could just hug her and tell her how much I love her and will miss her. Because I know that's coming. And many of you might just say, why don't you do that, Debbie? And my answer would be, I'm not sure. My mom has always forced us to hug, and I don't. I really don't enjoy hugging. She's publicly embarrassed me about it. I hug very few people, and I know that is a trust thing. The rest of my family is respectful of this, just not my mom, who forces herself into a hug. And yes, as I type this into my outline, true to the topic of the episode, I am in tears. And I just had to hit a pause to get that in, because as I wrote it into my outline, it also said, and likely you'll hear it as I record. Can anyone relate to this? In business, there are projects that we call our baby. We're so passionate about them and the impact that they can have. And in our jobs as well. And not just in our jobs, but our jobs. When we are surrounded day after day by stories of companies downsizing, closing, being bought up, and then thinned, culled out, it's a challenge to create boundaries so that we can protect our headspace. I read a book when I was searching for resources to improve my leadership in a company that had operated for 40 plus years and then was forced into bankruptcy, leaving a team of shocked employees who had been told that they'd be looked after. The team floundered when the company was bought out of receivership, many of them still in shock, in financial distress and trauma, unsure where they stood. Remember? Back to the beginning. What about me? Now, the great thing about our Canadian government is that as a result of the Nortel failure in 2009, so that big recession crash thing, and Nortel was one of the biggest companies around, it was the largest corporate failure in Canadian history, with affecting almost 100,000 people worldwide, leaving pensioners, shareholders, and employees with enormous losses. The Canadian government brought in something that is still in play called the Wage Earner Protection Plan. So these employees had some financial protection, but the whole situation created a fear. It created a financial trauma. What about me? This book, and I honestly wish I could remember the name of it, but I can't, and I don't have it anymore, helped me to understand that if we could start helping people on the team through the financial trauma, that they could bounce back in a new job. Because if they didn't, it highlighted the fact that if we simply found them a new job, without doing that, the trauma would persist and affect their outcome at any future job. Any layoff would do that, regardless of whether it was in bankruptcy or not. The book, while for them, was also something that I needed personally, because the effects of as my boyfriend at the time sarcastically stated, my career choice, he said, "What a great career choice, Debbie, choosing to work in a space where you're always working yourself out of a contract every 18 to 24 months. Meaning that I was constantly worrying about the premature ending of my contracts and my income, because the companies were never sure exactly how long a merger or acquisition would take and when it would start or end. That is the joy of wanting to work with companies that are growing, changing, innovators, and disruptors. That is the downside of the growth mindset. And loving it. And so I wanted to make this a bit shorter this week to help as many of you get a better handle on the emotional side of the ups and downs of both business and life. To share that it's okay, it's actually good to have a big old cry, get angry and mad every once in a while. To know that being curious, adventurous, entrepreneurial all requires empathy, compassion, understanding, bravado, and an honest sprinkling of hard truth and bitchiness, and gratitude for the opportunity to craft the life of your dreams, to create a legacy for your family, and in the process, help as many people as you can in whatever way your unique you does it. Yeah, there are moments when this shit is crazy and you're trying not to cry. We all do it. But there's always a hand or an ear there when you have community. So this podcast got you thinking you'd like to go a bit deeper on this with me. You want to figure your money thing out? I have got so much more to share with you and to give you. And you're really ready to toss the shroud of money worries into the trash forever, to stand taller and more confidently in every decision and manifest the most profitable and successful year of your life, which means worry-free abundance in life and in business and so much more. Make sure to sign up for my free 4-week course where we're taking a deeper dive into how to transform that money situation in your bank accounts that's keeping you up at night. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All you have to do is just pop over to the link bit.ly/boost-money-EQ. And invite a friend to go through with you, even family, or maybe coworkers or employees. It's a great way to get a money conversation going. And the more people in your community who are shaking up the scarcity mindset, the more our families and our communities will thrive. Don't be shy or embarrassed. Pass the link on to as many people as you can, because stats show that we never know what's happening in people's lives, especially when it comes to money. I cannot wait to see you inside. And yep, regardless if you sign up for TBN or not, this course is absolutely free. No strings attached. So much value handpicked for you inside it. You're for sure going to experience a transformation in a very short time. Come on, join us and have some fun. bit.ly/boost-money-EQ. Super excited, and I will see you there.